animals as leaders with the madness of many. There is sound everywhere. Literally everywhere. Whether it's cars rushing down the highway, the garbage music or movie, or just opinions of your neighbors, friends, siblings, family, people that you don't even care about that you just happen to hear. You know, the lustful mourns or cries of children. Pets are not exactly happy because all the noise is going on. Someone's beating on a pot, scare old Fluffy or something. There's the madness of many noises. That's what's really going on. Sometimes you just want to retreat to your headphones, enjoy something. Animals as leaders is definitely one that does that and maybe makes you feel a little fancy in the process. They're definitely a group that has that reputation a little bit. They're a prog snob's wet dream. This is an instrumental group. They definitely satisfy the question of whether or not it gents. All the while, on an album such as this one, such as The Madness of Many, that's perhaps similar but slightly unlike their previous affairs, there's a bit of a 50-50 split here between the chaos of the djent and sort of the genius of melody, or the softness of melody, whichever you wish to really describe it. This is a band that's able to give it that djent. It's able to give it some hard rock, some prog rock, some progressive metal, some salsa, or some Latino heat. Where's Eddie Guerrero when you need him? Come on, let's get this going on. Jazz, blues, everything seems to be here, and this is not something that feels like it's tremendously unscalable to a listener that's coming in for the very first time. It doesn't feel so highbrow that you need some sort of math degree in order to understand it. Although you may, by the end of it, after studying the tab, end up with a little bit of arithmophobia. Hey, that's also the title of the first track. Aren't I good at this? It's a 6-minute track. It's one that actually is a little bit different from the formula of most of the rest of this album, which hovers a little bit more closely toward the 5-minute range. And this is a track that I feel is a fitting introduction for anybody that is looking at Animals as leaders as a potential band to get into. Never heard it before, you want to scope it out, this is a good song to really start. It's one that showcases that this is a band that is not going to follow all the conventional rules that perhaps you've been boasted and bragged about by your friends about heavy metal. Instead, they are going to be something that sounds notably different. It's the same way if you listen to pop music or if you listen to classic rock music and then you all of a sudden decided to go back and listen to classical music. You know, going from Foreigner to Wagner is a little weird. This is definitely a little bit weirder than, you know, Metallica. And it definitely has a lot of charm to it. There's a lot of skill that's involved with it. But I have to also say that track number 2, Ectogenesis, has probably one of the weirdest openings for an Animals as Leaders song. It's also extremely infectious and goes into an even more infectious track. This one being a little bit more close to the typicality of the 5-minute track that we get on this album. There's really only 2 real moments where that is not true. We've already discussed one of them with track number 1, and the other one is track 9, which is the Brain Dance. Love the title of the song, BT Dubs. The Brain Dance just sounds like an overthinker's paradise, and it pretty much is. But as you move on and move forward throughout this disc, that 50-50 split becomes more and more evident. Yes, you do hear the chaos, you do hear the djent, you hear sort of this musical anarchy that does go on in a very well-controlled environment in order to deliver a lot of boom for your buck. But there's also a lot of melody, there's a lot of slowing down and kind of giving this sort of it gives Tosin really the ability to have his guitar sort of weep and mourn as opposed to just attempt to, you know, burn down the world with one single strum. And this is something that you note on tracks such as the aforementioned Ectogenesis, Inner Assassins is another track, Private Visions of the World, and then you do get into that a little bit more with the Glass Bridge and the Brain Dance. Really, overall, this is one where that 50-50 split really helps Animals as leaders because it makes this effort not only feel a lot more focused, it feels a little bit more controlled, which may upset some people, but the overall composition that you gain from it is really elevated in the real aftermath of that. It's something where flowing from track to track does not seem as all like a trial. It's a very smooth listen. Even though you're moving through very, choppy waters, we're going from trying to burn the world down via guitar and bass and drum to, I guess maybe kissing it and making it feel better. Maybe this is the, Sour Patch Kids of metal. That's a really, really weird way to describe Animals as leaders. I understand. But this is a band that whenever you take a look at the song titles, obviously has fun with it. Whenever you think of songs such as Transcentience, which is, well, there's scent right in there. Obviously, there's something about smell in there. And just once again, the aforementioned The Brain Dance, and you have to love Pfeifengeist. The hell does that even mean? Dean Winchester just killed Hitler in an episode of Supernatural. Is this the new cry of the new Zeitgeist? Or the new Reich? The Animal Reich. We're getting away from the music, and we are for a very good reason, because Animals as Leaders really speaks wonderfully for themselves, and this is one that almost demands more experience than just the simple words that I can speak. They're a group that certainly transcends that idea that metal is really trapped in this cornerstone and is not willing to expand and sort of balloon out and give itself a lot more character. Yes, this is something that we as metal fans for long periods of time, those who have done the exploration, understand, considering we've done the exploration. However, Animals as Leaders brings this to a brand new philosophy, a brand new generation, and it's one that is already embroiled in the djent phenomena, so it only makes sense that Animals as Leaders has definitely expanded the overall bubble of metal possibilities even wider. The Madness of Many continues with that legend, continues to give that enjoyable listen that so many people have become hooked on, and they even take a risk right there at the end with track number 10, by having this beat one that's mainly soft. We hear the soft pluckings of the guitar. We hear, the very familiar motion of the bass and, a very muted semblance of further percussion. But all in all, this is one that is toned down quite a bit, and it actually leaves for a very intimate finale. 88 out of 100. Fantastic album. Once again, something that begs exploration and absolutely requires experience to fully understand. And that's just the reality of it. I want to know what you guys think about The Madness of Many by Animals as Leaders. Let me know in the comments below. My name, by the way, is Coverkiller as Nation. No, I'm kidding. It's Coverkiller Nation. There's no as in there. That makes no damn sense. I'll talk to each and every one of you guys next time, though. Take care. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to know what I thought about the last Animals as Leaders album, scope out the link to your right. The link to your left is going to show you all of my feelings about 2016 album reviews that I have done. You can also scope out the Patreon and subscribe to the channel. If you do that, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching.